All right, here we are with our next Lightroom topic. So this one is adaptive presets, also known as AI presets in my mind at least. So this is really cool because it combines the AI masking features with the preset features that we've had in Lightroom for years and years. Oh, there's my kitties. Okay, so we are going to start with this image straight out of camera here, looking a little bit poopy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my standard presets, which just kind of bump things up. So this is where I would start. We're going to say that this is all set. And now I'm going to do my local adjustments, which are the things that are just on small parts of the image. So I am first going to start up in masking and show you how the people masking works. So I come up here. We have the AI masking features here, which I've already covered. And then down at the bottom, we have the people masking. It takes a second to load. You might have noticed that. Now it's all loaded and it lists person 1, and you can hover over it and it'll tell you who that is. Person 2, person 3. It does an unlimited number of people, and you can choose to change them one by one. So I'm going to start with Dad because he's really dark back there with that shadow from his hat. So I'm going to choose person 1. It thinks again. Now it says, do you want to make a mask for the entire person, which will look like the red? Or do you want to mask just the facial skin, just the body skin, just the eyebrows, the eye sclera, which is actually, I didn't know this, it's the whites of the eye, the iris and pupil. Here, notice how it's not selecting the iris and pupils of Dad, so it got a little confused there. You can do all sorts of other things. In our case, we're going to go for just the entire person on Dad, and we're going to create mask. Now it's created the mask. If we look here, it's not totally perfect, but we're going to go with it for this video. And now all I really want to do is brighten Dad up a little bit. So I'm slightly increasing my exposure. I don't want to increase my exposure too much or his highlights will blow out. So now I'm going to try some shadows. I like that highlights or that shadows and exposure combo a lot of the time. That's good enough for now. Dad is looking much better. Just for giggles, we're going to do somebody else. So let's try baby. So again, we are going to select people. The difference between selecting people and selecting subject is that select people will let you do individual people and individual features of that person. Select subject would group all 3 of these people together. So here we've done the baby, and just to really demonstrate things, we're going to do a mask for the entire person, but we're also going to do a mask for the iris, and then let's see, maybe we'll also do a mask for the clothes just so we can really see. So now I've chosen. Oh, it won't let, I forgot this. It won't let you do entire person and individual things at the same time. So you would want to actually apply these separately. So for our case, we're going to do entire person again. And we're going to create mask. If we were doing multiples of other things that are not the entire person, you have the option down at the bottom to create separate masks. Actually, maybe we won't do entire person. We'll just do these random 3 things. So we're going to do hair, iris, and clothes. I'm going to create 3 separate masks so that I can individually adjust those parts of this baby. We're going to create the mask. So now if you look at our masking, we have Dad right here. We have irises of the baby right here. We have baby's hair here, and we have baby's clothes here. So they're all now 3 separate masks, which means, for example, we can take the irises. I'm going to take off that red, and we can make them brighter. This is not going to look good, but I want you to really be able to see it. I'm actually going to zoom in. Okay, so I've really brightened his eyes, and we're going to maybe make his eyes blue. Again, this is not reality, but I just want you to really see the difference. So I've used the AI mask to select the irises, and then I've made my adjustments. Same with the hair. He had reddish hair, so we're going to give him a little more red. And we're going to say that his clothes are pink. I don't know. I'm just going with it. So there we go. I have now quickly changed that baby, all with that AI masking. So if we go back to our original, that's what it looked like. Now, just in a few clicks, we've done this. We could easily refine that mask if we wanted to. Okay, so that's AI masking for people. Now, how does that relate to these adaptive portraits or adaptive presets? So for that, we're going to look at some different visuals. I've got three portrait subjects here. We're going to start with this lady, cropped square, because a lot of LinkedIn portraits are square. So adaptive presets in your preset menu. So you're still in develop. You're now over on the left-hand side in this menu that normally lives above your history. You have adaptive portrait, adaptive sky, adaptive subject, and adaptive blur background. The only one that I find really useful as a freelancer for my business is the adaptive portrait, but maybe you're a landscaper and adaptive sky is really helpful. You can play with these. Basically, it will go through a few of these. If I wanted to do a glamour portrait here, so hold on, when you hover, it comes. So so this is my standard. Look, take a good look at the image. I'm going to hover over the glamour portrait now. And it's very subtle, but her skin got a little bit smoother. Her teeth got a little bit whiter. Her lips got a little bit redder. So if I hover over a different one, like gritty portrait, you can see all of the like freckles and textures came out of her face, and it looks like a lot more gritty. So I'm going to choose polished portrait. Who knows exactly what that is? You know it. The more you do it, the more you'll know what they are. So I've chosen polished portrait here. It doesn't look like anything actually happened except for to the image. Like I didn't see a settings change. But if you go back to your masking, it basically applied your people mask, but it applied it with this algorithm that said, what does a polished portrait look like? So it selected her facial skin, and it did something to it. Probably it added a little bit of a blur. It selected her neck, and I'm guessing it probably brightened it. We can click on all of these and see. So we'll just do that for this one. So for this one, it actually brought down some of the texture so that if she had wrinkles on her neck, they would be less emphasized. There's one for her eyebrows. There's one for her eyes. There's one for her irises. There's her lips. There's her teeth. If we look at the teeth one, we can see it brought the exposure up a little bit and the saturation down. If that wasn't enough, I could go in here and say, I'm going to make her teeth a little more blue as well. I'm going to go really blue so you can see it. We wouldn't do that far. We'd go about here. This one, when it has a little arrow or a little triangle, it means it couldn't detect whatever it was trying to find, their facial hair. She doesn't have a beard, so she didn't get a facial hair adjustment. And then it does some stuff to the hair to like add more contrast. So now I've taken, just with the click of polished portrait, I have taken this image from, I have to move my navigation here, hold on. I have taken this image from, where were we? Here, where she looks pretty good, to here, where she's just even slightly more finished. We can see that on a man, it might look a little bit different. Now, I chose this picture because later we're going to remove the background nonsense, which is why I left that there. Okay, so here I am with my good friend and constant photo assistant. I'm going to choose for him the gritty portrait because he's a man and he might have more of that like grit in his face. If you do, for example, the glamour portrait on a man, you will smooth out their skin so they look airbrushed and not manly, which doesn't matter, but most men will be like, I don't like that. I don't wear makeup. Now, I think this is too much grit for him, so I'm going to quickly flip through the others. I'm going to say, what does polished portrait look like? There we go. There's a little bit of that airbrushed look I was talking about. There is a glamour portrait, which gives him a little more color on the lips. Enhanced portrait is almost always safe for any type of person. You definitely don't want to use gritty portrait on, for example, your grandma, unless you are trying to emphasize that she looks like she's 90. But you may find instances where gritty portrait is neat. You can also take any of these and back these off. So let's say I like enhanced portrait, but I feel like it made Kent's lips too pink. He's not wearing lipstick. So I can come in here, I can find the lips. I think it might be this one. They're hard to see. Those are the eyes. I think this is the lips. There is a way to tell. Oh, this is teeth, actually. There we go. There's a way to tell if you look up here. It usually tells you. So that's the eyebrows. Here's the lips. Here we go. And it says lips right there. So I can change the sliders. In this case, I'm actually just going to delete the lips by selecting the lips mask and then pressing the delete key. And now his lips are normal Kent color lips. And I think that looks a lot better. We will quickly just run one more. I'm going to try the polished portrait here. It's a very subtle difference. There we go. If you wanted to slide through them, you could try glamour and see if it's a little better or worse. Again, the lips are often where you notice it. And there are plenty more things here. So if you didn't want to apply the airbrushing or the whole thing, you can just enhance the eyes, just whiten the teeth. You can manually make all of these in the AI masking people semi-manually. You can use AI to manually make the masks in the people masking, but you can also apply all the masks at once with Adaptive Portrait. The last thing I'll mention, and this is true of all the adaptive presets, we've got the portrait, the sky, the subject, and the blur background, is that you can apply them to one image and then sync it. So here I think I applied polished portrait to her. So now I'm going to select all 3 of my images. I'm going to sync it. Now, I've probably made a lot of different changes, so I don't want to sync all my settings, but I want to sync my masking here. So I might not want to sync the lips if I have a mix of people with and without makeup. For now, I'm just going to do it all. I press synchronize. I'm going to replace whatever I had on there before, and it is going to add that same AI mask to everything, but the adaptive part is key here because look where the lips are on this lady, and now look where the lips are on this lady. They're slightly off. They're not in the same place. They're not the same shape. So if you had a regular mask and you applied it to lady 1 and then you synced it to lady 2, instead of covering her lips, it might cover her cheek and her ear. But the AI masking says, oh, we're doing the same thing, but we're doing it on a different person. That looks like teeth. So I'm going to keep the same settings, but I'm going to apply my mask to the actual teeth. So it adapts for you, which is fantastic. All right, that's it on AI masking for people and the adaptive presets, which can be used for skies and stuff. So check those out.